Hello everyone, this is Many Ninja speaking. Welcome to this episode of Retro Ninja Gaming, where we're going to take a look at another N64 title that kind of came into my collection. A curious one at that.
Yes.
As you can probably guess from that voice bit there, from Megatron there, we're looking at a Transformers Beast Wars title. Specifically, Beast Wars Transmetals. The weird part about this particular title is a bit twofold there. One, this is actually based off one of the, I think the second or third season. I can't recall off the top of my head since it's been a while since I've seen the show. So we're actually going a little bit further in the line of the actual show. And two, it's weird to find it under the in the Canadian area. Not because the game itself is a little bit on the uncommon side, if I'm correct, but also technically the name itself is something that we wouldn't have actually normally seen in this market. To explain that, basically at that time, because of just some general censorship, the original Beast Wars show was actually renamed for the Canadian market into Beasties instead. Which is a bit funny because I'm pretty sure it's actually a Canadian show in the making there. But in its own original market, we had to give it a different name because they didn't want the name Wars anywhere in the title there. So, Transformers Beasties it is then. This game actually has a bit in common with the with Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, which I did for the last video, namely that in the North American market, it was only available as a Blockbuster video rental exclusive. Mind you, the Japanese game saw a proper release, and was actually compatible with the Japanese-only Game Boy Color game, through a transfer pack of sorts, but in terms of the North American market, if you wanted to play the game, you had to go to a Blockbuster video store in order to get your hands on it, and based on the sticker that's on the back of this thing, probably the way this came out is, someone happened to see this thing in the kind of liquidation area of a Blockbuster video at the time that they were selling off used goods for, picked it up, and then that's when it started circling around. As for what this particular game is, it's best as kind of described as kind of a 3D roaming fighting game of sorts. The actual cast that is playable in here is a bit on the smaller side, even compared to the relatively small amount of people or robots that are available in the series itself, with the overall cast, at least the default setting here I can find and know of, are of 8 characters total and 4 from each division. 4 Maximals, 4 Predacons. And for the purpose of this recording, I was messing around with the only real choice that I had, which was Beast Wars Megatron.
Yes.
Allow me to break down exactly how the gameplay actually works once you get in fight. For the most part, you have, as mentioned before, your 3 main modes. Your robot mode, which is honestly your most effective attack mode, and also where you happen to have most of your projectiles, which consists of mostly everyone's movesets for the most part, to be honest, and those attacks can actually be charged up for kind of a greater effect. Your beast mode, which basically, I'll explain the mechanic of why the beast mode is important there, and your vehicle mode, which is basically the same deal as your beast mode, only you have a lot more maneuverability most of the time, and can go around your free roaming arena a lot faster than you could in your beast mode alone. Now you're probably wondering, just based on what I said there, why would you ever want to switch out of your robot mode then if it's honestly that much better for attacking? The reason why is that yellow bar you're probably seeing depleting on both my end as Megatron and Tarantula's side. The problem is, it seems they kept a little bit of the general kind of gimmick from the original season of Beast Mode, where due to energon exposure, the characters, or all the characters from the series, could only stay in the robot modes for a limited amount of time here. While in actual series, this should have been rectified with the whole Transmetal thing, plus all the events that led to the Transmetal setup there. They kept it as kind of an in setup or a gimmick for the actual game itself, because your robot mode is limited in the amount of time you can stay there before you need to transform into your beast or vehicle mode to let it recharge a little bit. Which kind of led, for this particular recording, me getting my ass kicked. Because I didn't know that. This is actually recordings from the very first time I seriously went into the arcade mode in order to check things out. Which, by the way, I subsequently learned after the point of this recording that the game was actually set to very hard mode. So I'm jumping into a game where I don't know how the game controls, and I'm getting my ass kicked for my troubles. Anyway, as you can also see on both sides, yep, the attacks can be charged up there. It'll leave you vulnerable as you attempt to charge it, unless it's something simple like your laser. But in terms of the general presentation, the character models, especially in the setup, appear a little out of focus, if I have to be honest. It becomes a little more prevalent in some of the mini games and other kind of side setups the game has. Which, by the way, the game this relatively small, needing mini games, seems a bit much, but I guess they kind of realized that there wasn't much substance to the title beforehand. But I have to kind of give them points because the audio, in terms of the game, is actually really nice, especially with the voice clips that are included here. Of course, yes, they're short clips, but they honestly sound pretty nice in quality, especially for this era here. And they seem to capture the characters pretty well. Going straight to final thoughts, because much like this video, the game itself is pretty short on content, if I have to be quite honest. In terms of who would I'd recommend this game for, if you're fans of the Transformers series in general, or just N64 collectors, then pick up the game, but for everyone else, keep your money and spend it for something with a little more substance to it. That's all I gotta say for now. Thank you for watching, and have a happy Victoria Day weekend, everyone.